Alright, so moving on to the 2 bedrooms. Okay, so for 2 bedrooms, right, there's a total of 3 main layouts. So basically, we got your 2 bed, 1 bath, your 2 bed, 2 bath, and of course your 2 plus study. Alright, so for the first layout, the 2 bed, 1 bath, 592 square feet. Basically, all the 2 bed, 1 bath, right, is 592 square feet with only very little differences. Right, so later we'll touch on. Alright, so for the first layout, there's a total of 6 stacks, all external facing. Okay, so dumbbell layout, I think this is quite standard, very efficient, but this time you got a balcony compared to the 1 plus study. So this is a more conventional dumbbell layout, 2 plus study, 1 dumbbell layout. So what I really like is that the bath, this time I got dual entrance. So they didn't do for the 1 plus study, but at least they did it for the 2 bed 1 bath. Okay, so again the downside, what I don't really like about this unit is that the dining, you don't really have a proper dining corner. I think this is very common for 2 bed 1 bath because the square feet is only that small. Alright, so this is catered for investors or for different budget.
That's why that time when we talk about Ori, the 2 bed 1 bath was highly sought after because there's a dedicated dining place.
So that was special. So this is more of a conventional
layout,
more common 2 bed 1 bath layout.
Okay, so as you can see from the side plan, right, some of the units are there's next to the corner units over here. Like for example, this one, and this one, right? So these 3 units will be slightly darker compared to the rest.
Yeah, basically they are next to the larger units, right? The common units. Right, so basically this is the fins over here. So master bedroom gonna be a bit dark. Yeah, because your left, right are warm. Right, so I think this is one of the downside. Okay, moving on to the next 2 bed 1 bath layout. So if you don't compare it side by side, it literally looks the same.
Yeah, true.
Again, dumbbell layout, we got balcony, dining table in the center.
The main difference over here, I think if you superimpose, it'll just be
the fins.
Yeah, the fins.
Again, the fins. Alright, but again, this AS2, right? Sorry, this B2, right? There's only Park West facing. Yeah, so compared to the first B1 layout, which is external facing, this is Park West facing. So again, likely there is a premium to it. So we are going to estimate it as 3%. Okay, now let's move to the third layout, which is the B3. Again, there's a total of 6 stacks, 58 units, all external facing. Again, also very similar. Yeah, so nothing much to talk about. So now the question is, out of these 3 layouts, right, which unit, right, should you prioritize? Okay, so to make our job simpler, we will just compare each layout side by side. Okay, basically all same layout, it's just that B2 pricing, right, might be higher because of the Park West facing. Alright, so let's do a rental analysis, right, based on Treasure at Tampines, average rental at about 3.3 thousand. Alright, so for Parktown, I would say that 3.7, 3.8k should be quite achievable, right, because of the convenience. Right, Treasures is not near anything. Right, Parktown is near Cross Island Line, MRT, bus interchange, your more amenities, you don't have to go anywhere. Alright, so based on 592 square feet, right, 592, we multiply by 2200, it will give you at about 1302. Alright, 1.302 million. Okay, we use 3007 as example. So 3007, we multiply by 12 months, we give you 44k. Alright, 44k divided by 1.3 million, it will give you at about 3.4% rental yield. Alright, so 3.4 rental yield, again we compare to the more expensive unit, so it might stretch up to 2.6k. So at 2.6k, right, 2.6k you will get about around 2.88% rental yield. Alright, so I would say that rental yield not fantastic, but I think it's reasonable because this is the market rate. Okay, however, if you have a limited budget which only allow you to purchase the 2 bed 1 bath, right, then you want to prioritize the cheapest unit. Right? Of course, and more importantly, right, the units without fins. Right, basically the units that are not next to the bigger units. Okay.
Okay, so overall the rental yield is, like what John mentioned earlier, was average. And more importantly, right, 2 bed 1 bath is not so easy to sell in the future. When you hit the resale market, honestly, 2 bed 1 bath is quite hard to sell. So unless you have a limited budget, you should definitely look at the bigger units like the 2 bed 2 bath or 2 bed plus study.
Yes, that's definitely. Okay, with that being said, let's move on to our next layout. This is a 2 bed 2 bath layout. So there's a total of 4 different layouts, all at 6, 7, 8 square feet. Okay, it's going to be all dumbbell layouts, so very minute difference. Alright, we are still going to analyze and pick out what is the best unit that you should go for. Alright, so for 2 bed premium, again, what I like is that there's an enclosable kitchen. Alright, you got your left and right kitchen. Alright, entrance come in, you got 2 ensuite. Alright, then the balcony. So overall, I would say that this layout, there's no much issue. You got dedicated dining area as well. Alright, so I would say this layout I would say one of the better ones. One of the better 2 bed 2 bath layout in the market right now. Okay, there's a total of 9 stacks. Alright, so 9 stacks over here. Total of 21 units. There's 2 stacks facing Park West and only 1 stack facing Park East.
Okay, so for 2 bed premium, this BP one, right, there will be thin wall for both the rooms. So the rooms, like what I mentioned earlier, the rooms will be slightly darker, especially for the master bedroom side over this side because of this long fin over here.
Okay. Alright, so let's move to the next 2 bed 2 bath layout. So again, very similar to BP1. We compare, previously the kitchen is in the center. Right, so now, right, the kitchen has been shifted to the left side. Alright, so very minor difference, but again, it seems that you got a slightly bigger dining area. Alright, so there's a total of 6 stacks. But again, overall,
not much difference.
Yeah, not much difference.
Yeah. So I think the main difference here is there's no thin wall for this layout. Yeah, so this layout will be the brightest as compared to the previous 2 bed layouts.
Yeah, especially the fins are at the master bedroom. So master bedroom is the most important.
Yeah.
Alright, so now let's move to the third 2 bed 2 bath layout. Again, this is very similar to the BP one where the kitchen is in the center. Alright, so now kitchen is back to the center. Layout wise is very similar to both the layouts. Only difference is that they are all now facing Park East. Yeah, so Park East facing.
Yeah. So for this unit type, right, for stack 111 and stack 101, you will have the thin wall over this side. Right now, this will be at your common bedroom.
Then moving on to the last layout. Alright, so this is slightly different. Okay, although it's dumbbell layout, this time, right, we got a staggered bedroom. Alright, so it gives you basically staggered bedroom, as we all know that it gives you privacy when you're hosting lah.
Yeah.
So basically your activities are over here. You got a room that's right over here. So over here you got a better, I would say a better privacy when you come to hosting. Alright, then for this stack, all is Park East facing.
So the only downside for this layout is might be right, for the common bedroom too, might be a little bit dark. But if you compare to BP1, whereby the master bedroom is darker, right? So we feel that actually when you have a good master bedroom, actually is more important than having a good common bedroom too lah. So this one, this BP4 will actually stand out compared to BP1.
I agree. Okay, so now the question is, if you compare 2 bed 1 bath to 2 bed 2 bath, right? Which one would you go for? Okay, so let's compare the square feet first. So the difference for 2 bed 1 bath and 2 bed 2 bath, right? The square feet difference is 86 square feet. Alright, so if you use 86 square feet, right, multiply by 2002, it will comes up to 189. Alright, so again, 189,000 is not a small figure when we talk about the smaller units.
Yeah.
Alright, but what 189 can give you is that, number one, you get an additional ensuite. Alright, number two, you get an enclosable kitchen. Okay, you get a bigger master room. Alright, so master room over here. Okay, and again you get a proper dining area. Alright, so this is the dining area compared to in the middle of the whole house. Alright, so I would say that again 189 not a small amount, but if you can, I would say that 189 is actually pretty worth it. Alright.
Yeah. And more importantly, I think it's easier to sell in the resale market. A 2-bed premium, a 2-bed 2-bath will be much easier to sell than a 2-bed 1-bath.
Alright, so to prove that, right, let's take a look at one of the nearby unit, which is Treasure at Tampines. Alright, so basically Treasure at Tampines is a relatively new development, so it's very comparable. Everyone is going to compare Parktown with Treasure at Tampines. Alright, so over here we got a 2-bed 2-bath and 2-bed 1-bath transactions for Treasure at Tampines. Again, I use a similar sale date. Alright, so the dates are very similar. All 224 transaction. Okay, so we can see that the 2-bed 2-bath all transacted at about 200k plus minus. Okay, so as compared to the 2-bed 1-bath, they only transact at about 150k
average
plus minus. Alright, the difference of profit is, I would say, about 50 plus. Yeah, of course the high ones can go up to 100k. Alright, but we are talking about average over here. Alright, so again, people will say that, okay, because 2-bed 1-bath, right, the capital outlay is lower, which is true, okay? But if we compare it using the annualized return percentage point, right, which is right over here, the percentage return is range for about 4 to 6% annual returns, compared to the 2-bed 1-bath, about 3 to 4%. Alright, so again, I would say that your money is working harder for you if you are buying a 2-bed 2-bath unit.
Yeah, so for buyers out there, unless you have a limited budget, right, what we will suggest is we recommend you guys to go for 2-bed 2-bath instead of 2-bed 1-bath for Parktown.
Yeah, so very clear cut, we are going for the 2-bed 2-bath as compared to the 2-bed 1-bath if we have enough budget. So the next question is, right, such a big development, the same issue will occur. Road facing, pool facing, high floor facing, high floor units, low floor units, which unit should you go for? Okay, so previously we done the 1+ study, right? We go for the lowest unit, the cheapest unit, road facing, right? So that's very clear cut. So for 2-bed, it's going to be slightly different. Okay, so again, we take a look at Treasure at Tampines. So on the top half, we have road facing transaction, and on bottom half we have a pool facing transaction. Okay, so purchase price, the road facing is a lot cheaper. Okay, 1,003-ish PSF compared to pool facing. You are paying about 100 PSF more. Okay. When it comes to sale, again, I use a very similar transaction date. Okay, we can see that the profits, right, the PSF profits, right, is more or less about the same. Yeah, basically the price difference, it brings to the resale market as well. Unlike the 1+ study, right, actually shrank. So the difference during launch, right, was quite big. When it comes to resale, right, 1+ study, the difference is smaller. But 2-bed actually performs slightly different, especially for the 2-bed 2-bath. Because why? 2-bed 2-bath, right? Some buyers actually buy for their own stay. Alright, so
yeah, so even though you pay higher during launch day, when you hit the resale market, right, you will be able to sell higher as well compared to your peers.
Alright, so next up, we will have to rank the 2-bed 2-bath unit because we are clear that 2-bed 2-bath is better than 2-bed 1-bath. Alright, facing basically the profit, it will be bring over to the resale market as well. You pay more, you are going to get more in the resale market. Alright, so for the best layout for 2-bed 2-bath, right, definitely goes to BP4 because of the staggered bedrooms. Alright, and more importantly, right, is Park East facing.
Premium facing.
Yeah, premium facing. But what you're gonna get? A resort life, a resort style view. Right, every day you go home, right, it's just like going for another holiday.
You don't feel like you're going home.
Yeah, it's just that amazing, right? the Park East facing. Okay, then moving on will be BP3. Again, Park East facing, just a normal dumbbell layout. Alright. And third, we got the Park West facing, also internal facing. Alright, why we say that internal is better? Because the price in terms of when you buy and you sell, right, no difference. So you might as well enjoy the view.
So technically, if you pay higher, you will get back the same profit as if you buy outside.
That's
Even
right.
you pay more, but you'll still get back more.
That's right. Alright, then of course lastly we got the BP1 facing. BP1 layout, which is the external facing. Alright?
Okay, but John, but if Park West is 2% cheaper than Park East, instead of what we are saying, the 1%, which one will you choose?
So 2% is about 1.5 million, 2% is going to be about $30,000 different. Alright, $30,000 different for 2%. Alright, so 30,000, if you ask me for a 50-meter lap pool and a resort view, right? I would say that I might favor the pool view more because 30K, right? Again, it's not a lot, but it's not little as well.
Yeah.
Right. So for me personally, 2%, right? I would rank the Park West facing, right, all the way to the first. If 2% or more, 1%, 15,000, okay, fine. We go for Park East facing.
You go for holiday.
That's right. We go for holiday.
Okay, but if you are buying for rental investment wise, right, I will prioritize the cheapest layout. So in this case, right, likely will be the BP1 external facing. External facing will all be cheaper.
Yeah, because the risk is a lot lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, because good facing, bad facing, rental is the same. Right? So it depends on your objective of your purchase. Won't say internal facing, Park East facing, just go for the best unit because you'll be able to get a premium for it.
Yeah.
For rental, just go for the cheapest one.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get a premium rental from a good facing if you're paying a premium. Alright. So again, just to highlight, we will prioritize all the units without the fees. Alright, because certain stacks like your BP3, right? Certain stacks, there's an additional fee which makes your common room darker. Alright, so all these minute details, it may not seem so obvious during launch.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't see the actual unit itself. But again, if you go to the
Resale market,
you see the actual units, especially if the walls are dirty. Alright, you got bird poop and bird droppings and things like that. It's not going to be very pleasant. Alright, so to mitigate the risk, just go for the ones without the fees. Okay, moving on to the last 2-bed 2-bath layout. This is the most conventional layout ever. Okay, where you got your 2 rooms at one side, your kitchen at another side. Alright, so there is a total of 6 sets, 61 units. Okay, from the door coming, you got the kitchen on the right, and basically both your rooms on the left. Alright, you got a standard living, dining, balcony space. Okay, this is at 721 square feet. So as compared to the dumbbell layout, right, the difference is 43 square feet. Alright, so 43 square feet, right, if you multiply by 2.2 kPSF, right, it will give you at about $94,000.
So 94,000 for a similar 2-bed 2-bath product, right? Actually don't make so much sense as you compare to the other dumbbell layouts. So for this 2-bed premium 721 square feet, this will be our last choice.
Okay. So moving on to the last 2-bed layout, which is the 2 plus study. Okay. So for the first one, 2-bed 2 plus study, the square feet is 764 square feet. There's a total of 12 stacks. Again, from the entrance, you got a kitchen that's tucked to one corner. Okay, you got your common room, which you have a dual entrance. Okay, and you got a master room on the right, followed by a dedicated study area. Alright, so you can do it as a storage. You can convert it into a helper's room. Right, so overall, quite an efficient layout. Okay, and we have the next, which is again very similar. That BPS2, total of 2 stacks, which is Park West facing. Okay, total of 21 units. Overall, very similar to BPS1. Right, it's just the facing that's different. We put both layouts side by side. Okay, the priority will be very similar to the 2-bedder. Basically, we are going for Park East facing. Right, because likelihood is that the profile buyers buying the 2+ study is likely for their own stay.
Yeah.
Okay, because in terms of rental, it totally don't make sense.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely not going to fetch you a higher rental yield. It's going to be terrible. Alright, so basically for own stay unit, we are prioritizing the Park East facing, followed by the Park West, and lastly the external facing. Of course, we will prioritize the units without the fees. Basically the BP one, some of the units that is without the fees.
So from an investment point of view, right, if you're looking to buy a 2-bed for investment, this 2-bed plus study will not be the one that you're going to be looking at. You look at the 2-bed 2-bath because it's definitely a better choice because first thing, lower price. Second, similar rental yield. Yeah, 2-bed plus study will not fetch you much higher than a 2-bed. Okay, so what will this 2-bed plus study cater to? So this will cater to those people who have a child and have a helper, and you have a budget constraint, and most importantly, I think you must stay in Tampines. You want to get a new development, a new ITH in Singapore and in Tampines, right? And you have a budget constraint. Because the smallest 3-bedder in this development is 926 square feet. So a difference of around 162 square feet compared to the 2+ study, the difference in price will come out to around 356,000.
That's very significant.
Yeah, so for 2-bed to under 3-bed is a very big jump. Yeah, it's unlike the other projects that we analyzed, this one is actually quite a significant jump.
Yeah, because some 3-bed compact there's like 800+ square feet.
Yeah, correct. This one is 926. Okay, so 2-bed plus study, we summarize, this one will be for people who are looking for own stay but budget constraint.
Me. If you like this video, do subscribe to my channel where I will cover more upcoming launches. See you in my next video.